the DNA change. It's a miracle. It didn't change your life on the inside. You weren't a spirit man. You were cooperating with your country code. You transport that Christian lifestyle, Christian culture, put that in Bangladesh and see where that gets you. I'm a good person. That's nothing to do with it. You're not a good person. Number one, you're self-deceived. But more importantly, that's not how you get in as being a good person. You get in by putting on Christ. So there's something at stake here.
Even if we take all of God's word, all of the scriptures, and it's still under the framework of us, there's no miracle. And that is the only thing. That's the spirit being, is the miracle of him, of his life. So every time we choose, and yesterday I chose. I didn't want to go through the pain with a particular situation where I knew I needed to empty myself. And so I pulled up my bootstraps and I kind of went at it using principles. And I just told God, I'm sorry. I know I did that. I know I forfeited. I mean, I just knew I did. I want him. He's the only one. I'm just such a fool to choose. You know, it was such a fool of me to choose my way using him when I knew it was my way. I knew it was me. And maybe no one else would have known, but I knew it. I knew it. And it's like, what am I trying to do here? Do I want Jesus, or do I want to create an environment that feels controlled and peaceful and, whatever?
Yeah, a corollary to that is friendship evangelism. I'll just love them and they'll change. No, they won't. They will not. Because it takes a miracle, right? It takes a scandalon. It takes an encounter with the living God. Seeker friendly. That's the Willow Creek thing. The castle in Schaumburg or Hoffman Estates, where in the world that was. The whole thing was built around, let's make everybody comfortable, right? Friendship evangelism, seeker sensitive, cultural, whatever. The problem is it evades the only thing that can save their soul, which is an encounter of a cross for them in their own. And that's not the same for everybody. We've talked about that. Everybody's got their own scandalon that they have to face, that God ordered for them. Romans 8:29. Before the world was, before there was time, he ordered and works together for the good, 8:28, those sequences for our personal life, the thing that happened when we were a child, the school system being made fun of, or the terrible encounter in a public park at age 5, all of those things work together to make us who we are and lead us to that place where we get to take up our own cross, not somebody else's cross, not religion. And if we think friendship evangelism is just loving them where they're at, we are keeping them from becoming a Christian, because you don't become supernatural without a cross. All you become is religionized. Your flavor of religion needs to change to my flavor of religion. So stinking what? It's all death. It's all death. The only thing that matters. Never mind. That's perfect. What would we have to talk about?
Well, you should have sat right next to you.
Okay, I'll give you that. That was my idea, but I didn't plan that. I just wrote it down the way I did, and then recorded for eternity on video. So.
And the ongoing miracle. It's not a one-time thing. It's an ongoing miracle of I want Jesus. I want him. And he's the only thing that changes anything inside me, inside of. So we let go. It's not the focus. Jesus is his life. And for whoever wants it, if he wants it, great.
And it's so easy in a Western mind, in the scientific method, to think of that as incremental change of belief system or of behavior. That's not it at all. It's a DNA change and a center of gravity change. Now what matters to me isn't this plus that, or a slight shift of this instead of that, or I'm going to give up drinking, smoking. My parents smoked 2 packs a day in the womb for me, as well as the next several years in a 1,000 square foot house. And they both gave up smoking because the Surgeon General determined they should. That's almost impossible.
Yeah.
They did it. They weren't Christians. Absolutely zero chance. So you can change your lifestyle, and that doesn't mean a thing, really. But as a Christian, things will change. But at the center of gravity change and the DNA change, what's important to me is everything about what was ever important to me changed. That's how it's supposed to be. That's how we need to see and live. And our actions then reflect that. The actions don't make that. The actions reflect the change of center of gravity and the change of DNA. They're not, you don't get there coming that direction. That's religion. You get that by a miracle encounter, and if you spare somebody the cross, that doesn't mean being mean, it doesn't mean give ultimatums, it doesn't mean cold shoulder, but it does mean there's something at stake in every conversation. There's something at stake in every encounter, because you know you're talking to a different species, and they know that you know they're talking to a different species, and that's offensive to them, but we're willing to do that because we're not going to become a chimpanzee just because we live in a pen of chimpanzees. You know, we're not becoming what they are. That's very, very different than loving them where they're at, for sure, but making sure it's obvious. Doesn't mean I even have to say it out loud most of the time. You need to become a Christian, so-and-so. That's not the point. The point is that who you are communicates to them. The vibe is, I love you unconditionally, but I really feel bad for the person that you are and the decisions you're making. You have no idea what party is on the other side of the scandal line that's just waiting for you with your name on it. There are party favors. There's a tent, a table tent. At your seat at the table, person, not in this person. There's a table tent with your name on it, and you won't come to the party. You know, or you think you can get in without the wedding clothes. Sorry, weeping and gnashing of teeth for you. Go out and find the wedding clothes. You still have time. Go find the wedding clothes. Go get some oil. Get back in time. Some will go on in the first place, but at least get back in time. You know, so there's something at stake here. Even the virgins, 5 of them are virgins. They're pretty good folks, but not good enough. They didn't have the oil. Didn't have the wedding clothes. They made it to the party, but they party crashers, wedding crashers. You can't get in because you want to, or you have good intentions. I'm a good person. That's nothing to do with it. You're not a good person. Number one, you're self-deceived. Everybody would be. But more importantly, that's not how you get in as being a good person. You get in by putting on Christ. The DNA change. It's a miracle. It's not being baptized. Get over it. It's not being baptized. That's the signature on the contract. But it's the faith, the faith of Abraham that says, you are everything now. I'm not adding you to my life, and you're not adding me to your life. I'm losing my life into your life, and whatever that means, you got it. All means all. Unless you forsake all, you cannot be my Christian, my disciple. You know, there's miscommunication around the Christian world. I have a little bit of fun talking to a Muslim, leader about these things because he talks all the time about, Muslims who are cutting corners all the time. And, so he catches himself now. Well, a Christian wouldn't say, and he'll catch himself and say, well, a real Christian wouldn't say, wouldn't do. Because he knows the difference now. Most Christians don't know the difference. Now it's spreading amongst the Muslim world. And it's just because they call themselves a Christian, that's a cultural decision. To be a Christian is a miracle. Then it requires abandonment, faith. And he even gets it. Well, most pastors still don't. They're trying to protect their reputation. They're trying to avoid lawsuits. I had to make a pastor tell me that. If we lived that way, we would be in court regularly. We can't disfellowship people. We can try to bump them out and tell them we're doing them a favor by going down the street. You know, but we will not disfellowship anybody because it could be a lawsuit. Doesn't matter how bad they are. And by the way, if nobody even knows about how bad they are, then they can sit here because maybe they'll get enough out of the sermon that eventually they'll change because if you get some out of the sermon, we don't scare them off. And meanwhile, they're tithing, so that's cool. You know, paying the mortgage. That whole world is just corrupt to the core, and you know, we expect Jesus' that opportunity still exists.